when you watch YouTubers talking about product management, when you are reading books about product management, it seems that everybody out there has figured it out and has a recipe for success on how to do product management. But the reality is that most of us probably are still struggling quite a bit to make good decisions and get the right products done out there for our customers. And you can see all the time that most of the products out there are not necessarily that successful. Today, let's talk about the most overrated aspects of product management. So first of all, let's talk about being the mini CEO of the product. The reality is that we are not any kind of mini CEO of the product. No matter how you look at it, the responsibilities and the area of expertise and the role of a product manager has little to nothing to do with that one of a CEO. Yes, you are a product manager and you should be planning and seeing where that product is going to go, defining that strategy, the vision of the product, and this is going to depend a lot on your seniority, by the way. But the reality, anyhow, is that you had to work with lots of stakeholders, which means that you cannot define the product strategy. You had to align your product strategy to the company strategy. Then you can work in your product strategy. So the product vision also is going to be aligned to the company vision. You cannot just go right away and do whatever you want. You have to align to a certain degree to what the vision of the company is. And also you don't have the same kind of decision power that a CEO has, and you don't have the decision on what budget to be used, on what resources to be used. You probably cannot even define the team that you are going to be working with. So yeah, it sounds great to say that you are the mini CEO of the product, but in reality, from my point of view at least, it is quite far from there. The second aspect that is very overrated for product managers are frameworks. Everybody and their mother seems to be looking for the perfect framework that is going to let them do the work, define a perfect recipe of what I need to follow in order to achieve a very successful product, a very successful launch, a very successful way of prioritizing. No matter what you are asking, that framework is going to answer it all. But the reality is that they don't. That's why there's so many frameworks out there, because all the frameworks are trying to nail or help with some certain aspect of the work. This can be prioritizing, this can be validating your work, or you're validating your problem, validating the solution. And there's going to be different frameworks to do one thing or another. Some of them are going to be more simple, something like Moscow or value versus effort. And then some of them are going to be more complex to achieve, like RISE, where you actually have calculations and formulas to define and to apply within the framework. How do you actually rate those ideas against those formulas, I guess? Sorry, my brain stopped working. So this is like everything that you do in your life. No matter what you do, whether it's exercise or something else, there is no one recipe to achieve success. There's going to be always several recipes, and frameworks are going to be the same. There's always going to be different ones that are going to help you achieve your goals. And most likely what you will end up working with is your own framework, which might be a flavor or a version or a combination of different frameworks that are out there. So we are all familiar with this image, that all these circles that say, where is your expertise as a product manager? You're the person that is putting together business, tech, and design, and you are the person that is in the center of all these disciplines. But I bet you that if you go to talk with a salesperson, if you go to talk to a designer, if you go to talk to an engineer, if you go to talk with somebody from business, they are going to have similar pictures where they are also in the center. We are not the center of the world. Nobody is. This is a team effort, and you're going to achieve this with everybody in your team. And usually you, as a product manager, are not going to have the knowledge of all these disciplines. You're going to be stronger in one of them, weaker in others. And this is something that is going to be, in the end, a balancing act, and you're going to have to find help or stakeholders that are going to help you fill those gaps that you have in your experience, because we all have those ones. And learning is the most important skill that you can have as a product manager. Not just learning, you also have to adapt yourself. Fourth one, you own the product. This is relatively similar to the mini CEO of the product. The reality is that you barely own the product. You own parts of aspects of that product, but you realistically don't own that product. You had to work with a lot of people, and in the best case scenario, you could say that the squad that is working with you, product manager, product designers, engineers, data scientists, data engineers, product marketing, whoever's in that squad, might be the closest to own that product. But there are still a lot of dependencies towards other people in the company. For example, stakeholders, like in sales, your CEO, the company strategy, whatnot. Your users, who you are solving a problem for. You're gonna say or pretend that you are the one owning the product. The reality is that best case scenario, the team, the squad owns the product, but the reality is that the company owns the product. And you could argue that the users own the product. If the product is not owned by the users, is not taken into their brains, then the product probably is never going to be successful. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you found value, please subscribe to the channel. I create a lot of videos talking about product management, product teams, and how to build tech products. So those are my favorite, most overrated aspects of product management, but they don't have to be yours. Please let us know in the comments to the rest of us what are the most overrated things or aspects about being a product manager. With all the things that I've said about frameworks still have their place and they are still useful. If you want to hear more about some of the frameworks that product managers are using to prioritize their work, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.